This is the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast, a show to help independent UK-based HR consultants get a pipeline of perfect fit, high-paying clients without expensive adverts, time-consuming social media activities, or energy-sapping and monotonous networking meetings. I'm your host, Nick Paninsky, author of How to Land Your Dream Client, a book which explains everything you need to know to get every sale and client you ever want. And if that sounds interesting, then make sure to grab your copy from the influential consultant website today. That being said, let's get into today's show. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants with me, Nick Paninsky. Today's episode, should you join BNI, the final word for HR consultants? I've wanted to record this episode for a while because the episode I recorded with Sarah May a while back turned out to be the most popular episode that I'd recorded. And I love that chat with Sarah. I've got big respect for Sarah. I love the business that she's built. But as a BNI chapter president, it's fair to say that she sees the best of BNI and has a bit of bias towards it. So today I wanted to give you a bit of a nuance. What BNI is, what it isn't, who it genuinely suits, the likely ROI and the hidden costs, and how to test it for 6 to 12 months without wasting that time. So if you've ever thought maybe BNI is the answer, then today's episode is for you. Now, I'm going to make an assumption about why you are listening to this episode. And I'm going to make this assumption that it's that you don't have a reliable, consistent way of getting premium paying clients and leads without chasing, selling hard, overwhelm, uncertainty, all that bad stuff, right? Effectively, you are not getting the clients and leads that you want. You're not getting the profits and the sales that you hoped for. You don't have the world that you wanted when you first went self-employed. And you might be thinking, well, everyone keeps talking about BNI. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe if I pay them, if I give them $2,000, maybe these problems will go away. Maybe I will have all the leads and the clients that I want. Well, here's the truth. Let me just spoiler alert. No, that's not going to happen, right? Joining BNI is not a magic bullet. You won't get all the leads and clients you want. You won't have that consistency that of getting leads and clients consistently, reliably, and frequently. And by the end of this episode, you will understand exactly why BNI won't fix those problems and what to do instead. But first, let's be clear on what BNI actually is, right? BNI is a global networking organization made up of local chapters, and each chapter meets once a week, usually early in the morning, 6:30, 7, whatever. And when I went myself, I found just getting there that early to be a pain, right? I'm an early bird, but getting somewhere for 6:30, 7 o'clock was hard work. And here's the thing, you are expected to be there every week. Every single week you have to be there. And you're going to be building relationships with these people, having one-to-ones outside of these weekly sessions. So not only do you have to be there every week, but you also have to build and maintain these relationships with the other people. So right off the bat, BNI, I want you to be aware, it's a big time commitment. Several hours a week, every week. There's obviously also that financial commitment, that £2,000 or whatever it is for the annual membership fee. There's the travel costs, and there's often food or venue costs too. So it's not free, and there are no guarantees of ROI, right? Now, one of the other things about BNI that you might not be aware of is the exclusivity. This is really cool, right? Only one person per profession is allowed in each chapter. So if you join, you'd be the only HR consultant in the room. That's really cool. And the other really great thing about BNI, this is the big draw, is that their whole model is built on referrals. They call it givers gain. The idea is that you refer clients to others, they refer clients to you. So it's a lot more structured than a casual local networking group where you just turn up and hand out business cards. Now that structure is appealing, but here's what people must understand. That's not a system, it's a community. So it might give you the names of people to talk to, but those names aren't clients, they aren't leads. So to put this into context for you, when you meet somebody for the first time, they start at 0 on the trust scale, right? Your marketing's job is to get them further along that scale as close as possible to 10. And the sales process takes over at that stage and gets it to the 10. That's when you get somebody to put their hand in their pocket and give you their money. Right now, BNI referrals, they might come in, that person, instead of being a 0 out of 10, they're a 3 or a 4 out of 10 because they've been recommended by someone. You can go and speak to Stephanie, she knows what she's talking about. But they're still not a 10. That person isn't coming to you as a 10 out of 10. You still have to do the work to move them there, right? And that's why BNI won't solve that problem. You're not going to get all the clients and profits and sales. And the other thing is, it's not a consistent lead gen machine, right? It's just a community that might pass you some names. And whether they turn into those clients is still entirely down to you. Now, as I say, there are other benefits to joining BNI. It's not just the fact that somebody's going to come to you a little bit further along the scale of trusting. They're not going to be a 0 when they meet you. They're going to be a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Right? So that's not the only benefit. The other benefit is that there is great exposure to your audience of SMEs. You know, this is why a lot of HR consultants say, I work with SMEs. You know, they go to a BNI meeting or whatever, and they are going to be exposed to SMEs. So that's great if you want to do that kind of stuff if you want your audience to be there, if you want to turn up to a networking meeting every week or every month or whatever and say that you're looking for SME work and people refer them and blah, blah, blah. It's certainly a possible way to build a business. But there's no control, as I say. And a lot of this work that you will get exposed to is going to be lower level stuff, you know, contracts, policies, disciplinaries, training, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking for the more strategic work, like mergers and acquisitions, if you're looking for working with a bigger organization on their engagement structures, strategy, etc., then BNI is probably not going to be able to give that work to you because that's not the kind of leads that you will be getting. You might get them, but more than likely, the businesses that people interact with are of an SME sort, and it is going to be the basic HR setup type situation. The other real benefit of BNI, and I love this aspect of it, is it breaks the isolation of solo work and keeps you accountable. Now, what I mean by this is that, I mean, you know, we know this, we're self-employed, we stay at home all day, every day. Unless you go to a co-work space, which I really advocate for, you are on your own all day, every day. And nobody really gets what you're doing, you know, when you're building your business, etc. I saw Sarah May post on LinkedIn the other day, one of her husband's friends was patronizing to her and said, oh, how's your little project coming along? You know, and I think because people, you know, that guy was obviously an arsehole, or at least he was an arsehole in that moment in time, because that's rather patronizing. But I think as well, like a lot of it comes from misunderstanding. People don't really understand what we're doing when we're building our businesses, right? Whereas with BNI, you get that, you get to interact with people who understand what you're doing. So there is no solo work, there is that camaraderie, and it also keeps you accountable. You know, people are turning up every week and they are passing leads around, and that's really good. It also really helps you with your pitching because, you know, you have to have your elevator pitch, so it refines that messaging and that confidence. So, you know, you get that 45-second pitch at the start, and then obviously there's the one-to-ones, etc., and you can build those relationships with people. They may even pass their HR work to you as well. And you will be exposed to potential allies, right? You know, if you go to a networking meeting and you are a HR consultant and BNI, generally speaking, there will be recruiters, solicitors, accountants, etc. You can do joint ventures, you can cross-refer, etc., etc. That it is a strong network for that. That is really awesome. But I think, well, no, but it is really awesome that those people are there in the room with you. If those people aren't in the room with you, then that's probably not the chapter for you to join. You know, you do need people who can potentially refer people to you who have the similar audience. You know, if everyone else in the room runs a local DIY shop or you know, they run the printing, or there's what is that energy company? Utility warehouse. They're always in the room, and somebody's always selling holidays, etc. If it's just those people, you might struggle to get the referrals you're looking for. So be careful when you're which chapter you're considering joining. But I guess, just to summarize, there are loads of benefits to joining BNI. But the most helpful thing that it is really it's helping you with the top of your pipeline. It will give you names. It will give you leads. It will give you people who are referred to you, i.e. you can trust Stephanie. Stephanie knows what she's talking about. That person will come to you a 3 out of 10, not necessarily a client immediately. But it doesn't build that reliable lead gen machine that you actually need. You will not get leads every day, right? If you were thinking about, say, for example, Facebook adverts or Meta adverts or Google adverts, Meta and Facebook, same thing. If you were doing Facebook and Google adverts, you are putting your message in front of your perfect audience day after day after day. That is a reliable way of getting leads into your world. So that could be a better way of spending your money, certainly in my opinion, and it's working for me and it's working for my clients. So that's all good. And as I say, this is not against BNI. I want to be very clear here. BNI it can be very, very useful. It's just not a reliable lead gen machine that you actually need. Now, on top of that caveat to BNI, as I say, BNI isn't perfect, right? There are issues with it. Now, the one big thing that I think people misunderstand or don't realize with it is that it is a big time commitment. So if you are driving to your local chapter, I don't know, let's say the meeting's an hour and a half, give or take 2 hours. That's 2 hours out of your day. Plus, let's say half an hour drive there, half an hour drive back. That's 3 hours of one working day. That's half your working day gone. Now, let's assume that you have to do, not have to, but let's say you're doing your one-to-ones with people. That's half an hour there, an hour here, give or take, consistently, right? So you are repeatedly showing up with these people. So that's more time out of your day. And then, there's all the prep for all these meetings, etc. So you are spending a lot of time to build your own network inside BNI in terms of getting your return on your investment. It is a lot of time. There also can be a slow ROI, right? Just because you meet these people immediately doesn't mean they're going to refer people to you immediately. It will take a bit of time for them to start to understand who you are, to trust you with their clients, to trust that when they pass somebody to you, you are going to deliver the best service possible. So it can take, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever, to get a return, to get those leads. And that's if that happens. You may join a local chapter and it may not be the right chapter for you. Alternatively, you might be in a room for whatever reason where it just doesn't work out for you and you get no leads. That can happen. There could also be a quality mismatch, again, depending on which chapter you're in, but also in terms of the businesses that you surround yourself with. You may not be able to charge the fees that you want to charge. One of the popular podcasts that I released was about pricing. Pricing is always one of those things which is really difficult to really nail. But I say to my clients, there's nothing wrong with you being the most expensive HR consultant out there. Somebody has to be that, right? So would you rather get paid £100 an hour? Would you rather get paid £200 an hour? Would you rather get paid £1,000 an hour? Someone out there has to be the most expensive. It could be you if you want it to be you. So, if you want to be the most expensive or you want to charge the higher prices, BNI might not necessarily be the way forward, because the people that they're exposed to, the businesses that they're exposed to, the ones that they're referring to you, they may not be the people that you want to work with, because A, it might not be the work, but also they might not be able to afford the fees that you want to charge. And I guess the next big problem with BNI is it's the pressure to refer. So you are expected to refer people to other people, right? Inside your chapter, there are other businesses, let's say up to 20 or so. So there is always, it can be easy to refer people to them, and it's not your responsibility to close the sale for them, but you are expected to send out referrals to these people. BNI isn't, as we say, it's not some magic pill, it's not some magic solution. You are expected to help build other people's businesses. That's the reality. When you sign up for BNI, yes, you do have to do referrals. You have to refer other people. Otherwise, yeah, you might have your membership in jeopardy. So that is a reality to be aware of. I think as well, it can be slightly repetitive and draining. You are going to turn up week in, week out. You are going to hear the same people give the same elevator pitch week after week after week for a year. Now, that can be draining. That can be boring. You can be sat there thinking, why the hell am I here? I've heard this stuff every single week. Why do I have to hear it again? And if that's the way, eventually your brain probably will say that to you, like, ugh, am I hearing this person again? But yes, that is the reality. If that doesn't bother you, no problem whatsoever. I guess I want to really emphasize for you, though, that BNI, it can help you get clients, it can help you get leads, but it won't fix the real issue. You're not going to have a system that brings in premium fit clients and leads reliably, consistently, frequently, week in, week out. That problem stays whether you join or not, because you cannot hang your hat on BNI delivering those leads on repeat, because it's other people and they are responsible for building their own business. They are responsible for feeding their family. So if you are effectively outsourcing your lead gen to other people with the expectation that they refer leads to you, you may be disappointed. So it's in my opinion, it's better to have something that you control. Now, if you do decide to join BNI, if you do decide to join BNI, I want to help you make sure that you get the best out of it. Make sure that you get the ROI that you're expecting. So it can be really helpful to be super clear on your ideal client. If you turn up to a BNI meeting and say you want to meet any SME meeting, hopefully someone there will point this out to you, but you're going to make it really hard for people to refer people to you, because SMEs doesn't mean anything, right? It's business jargon. I'm an SME, you're an SME, everyone's an SME. It doesn't really relate to us, though. When you have an SME, you are thinking of a specific person, a specific business. So it can be really helpful when you join BNI to know exactly who it is that you want to be referred to. That way, there is a data point in someone's brain that says, hello, they're looking for a hairdresser. Right, I know a hairdresser, I will refer a hairdresser. But if you say SME, there's nothing in their brain that says SME, so they won't be able to refer. You also want to make sure that your 60-second pitch stands out. To help you with that, I've included a link in the show notes to nail your elevator pitch. So as I say, there's a link in the show notes. You can nail your elevator pitch. That way, if you do go to BNI or any other networking meetings, you will make sure that you stand out from the crowd and that you get leads and clients, etc. You also want to make sure that you nurture every referral like it's gold. So when somebody refers somebody to you, you need to make sure that that person gets the best experience possible so that the referrer, that person in your chapter, feels confident about referring more people. If John refers Janice to you and Janice gets the great experience, then John's going to be comfortable referring more people to you. And that's on you to manage that situation. You also, and we talk about this quite a lot in marketing, but you need to track your data, track your time, track your ROI. If you're investing 10 hours a week into BNI and getting one client or something, is it worth that 10 hours? Because let's say you're charging £100 an hour, and obviously time is invaluable. We don't get any more of it. But let's say you're charging £100 an hour, that's £1,000. Are you paying £1,000 for one client? Is it worth it? That's a lot of money. So yeah, track those, how much time you're investing into your BNI, into whatever networking it is, and don't fall for the sunk cost fallacy of, oh, well, I've paid £2,000 to join, I better keep going. Because although you have, yes, invested £2,000, if it ain't working for you and you're having to work a hell of a lot really hard to get those leads and clients, then it may well not be worth that extra effort. You might just want to write off the £2,000 as a loss and just say, do you know what, BNI doesn't work for me. I gave it a shot. I'm not going to keep investing time in this because time is precious. I'm not going to get any more of it. I think maybe, I guess the overall thing that I would say is, if you are going to join, say that you give it 6, 12 months, whatever it is, then review. 6 months. Probably, I would say, get reviewing a lot earlier than that, in fact. Review it every month and see where you're going, see what is happening. You are investing all this time and effort to go to all these meetings. Are you getting a return on investment? How much effort are you putting into getting that return on your investment? And I guess don't confuse that activity of going to your networking meetings with progress, right? BNI is a great tactic. It can work for you. It can get all the leads, but it isn't your growth strategy. It shouldn't be your growth strategy. It's not how you're going to build a 100K business. So to recap, BNI can help. It really can help you build your business, but it's not going to fix that proper problem of a reliable, scalable lead gen system. It just isn't. It's a nice topper-upper. It can be a lot of fun. You can meet some great people, but if you are relying on it to deliver leads and clients into your world, BNI is not the way forward. If you don't join BNI, your business isn't doomed. I want you to be reassured. You can absolutely grow without it. As I say, Meta adverts, Google adverts, etc., lumpy mail, direct mail, all that good stuff. This can be a much better return on your investment. Now, if you want to take this a step further, obviously I run the Fastlane Formula, the Success Squad. Go and check those out on my website because they will help you build that consistent inbound lead system. They will help you scale to 70K and above. Both of them come with a money-back guarantee, and BNI doesn't provide that. So that might be the better way forward. I would argue that it is, but that's obviously up to you. But anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen along to today's episode. Hopefully it's been interesting and insightful for you. As ever, get marketing, because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no business. So get marketing. Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, then please consider taking a minute to help us grow by sharing the episode with a friend or colleague, or by leaving a positive review on podchaser.com. And make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes if you haven't done so already. I've been your host, Nick Paninsky, and if you've got any questions or you want to know more about today's topic, then feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be delighted to hear from you. See you next time.